Y'all know who I am, and if you didn't, well, you wouldn't be watching my videos. Um, basically, I know I'm a day late. I usually am a day late with these things. But it's my 5th anniversary video. It's that time of year again. It was actually yesterday, December 28th. This account, it's been online since December 28th, 2009, and so it's my 5th anniversary. And, you know, pretty much I stay true to what I said in last year's 4th anniversary video. How I'm just amazed that, I've been on here for so long, and I really like making videos for everybody. And I appreciate all my subscribers and my viewers and things like that. Um, so I guess we'll just kind of reflect a little bit on the year that I've had and everything. And start out earlier in the year. A lot of things for me have happened in 2014. Um, I bought myself a car. I got my first real job. Um, just doing things in school, meeting new people. I didn't do much. Over the summer or anything. This is just kind of a year review on basically everything I did. Didn't do too much over the summer, though I did. So back in April, I guess we'll start there. I got my first job, my first real job, but it was only a little weekend thing, but I was still on the payroll somewhere, and it was at a radio. It's at a radio station. It's the same radio station where my dad works full time. He works there 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I got a gig there doing commercials, which was about a 2-hour shift on Sundays, and I'd be paid $7.25. The state of Iowa's minimum wage for that, so I make $14.50, for doing some commercials and stuff. So it wasn't too bad. It was a cool little gig, and yeah, so I was doing that for a while, and but we have some more on-air people now, so I'm not doing that anymore. I'm still technically on the payroll, so I guess if I I never quit and I was never fired. So technically, if I wanted to do something, I guess I could go in on Sundays and do it. And I did the weather uh, broadcast, or not broadcast, but I did the weather forecasts on the station on Sundays as well. So anyway, so then in late July, I got my first real um, hardworking job, and that was at a department store. It's at a department store here in Cresco, Iowa, where I live. Obviously, as I've said in many videos, where I live. Um, it's kind of hard to describe. Just think of it a lot like the old WalMarts, the smaller WalMarts, Targets, Kmarts, things like that. It's called Alco Stores Incorporated. They operate 198 stores in 23 states, and they primarily put stores in towns that are smaller, more rural, and don't have access to bigger stores like Walmart or Target or Kmart or things like that. And a little background on Cresco, if I've never mentioned it before. City of Cresco has about 3,800 people, somewhere in there, and it's pretty rural. The county, I live in a county of less than 10,000 people, so there's only about 9,500 people in the county. So it's pretty rural. The nearest Walmart is 20 miles away, so I guess they figured that this would be a good spot for Nalco, and it is because it's a very profitable store. And I started working there in late July, and it's for the most part it's been a good experience. With all jobs, you have your bad experiences on days, but overall it's been a good experience. Uh, but If any of you have been keeping up with the news, or if any of you out there know what Alco is, a lot of you may, because they do operate stores in 23 different states, primarily in the Great Plains and the Midwest. Um, if any of you have been keeping up with the news and Alco in the news, Alco is going out of business. So I'm losing my job. My first real job. Oh no, cry, cry, sad, sad. It is kind of sad, but yeah, the company filed for bankruptcy back in October, and originally they told us that we were going to stay open. All the stores were, and then it was on November 17th. We got a phone call, and the phone call said, "Hey, we're closing." Basically, that's what it was. Hey, you got until January 31st, and you're closing. So all the stores are closing. All 198 stores are closing. Um, Technically, Alco Incorporated, as it was when I first started working there back in July, isn't doesn't exist anymore the way that it did. We're still using the name, and we still have corporate offices. They're in Coppell or Coppell. I think it's Coppell, Texas. I think that's how you pronounce it. And they moved there from Abilene, Kansas, about a year or two ago, I think, somewhere in there, before I started working there, anyway. Um, so yeah, it's sad because the company's been around since 1901. Okay, so the company's been around for 114, 115 years almost, and now they're going out of business in 2014, or well, it's going to be 2015 by the time we close our doors. So yeah, I got about a month left at my job. So I'm gonna be laid off here in late January. So but there's not much you can do about that. Um, so that's a little bit on that, and it doesn't really hurt me as much because I'm still in high school. I turned 17 in November. So it was the other big thing that happened lately. I'm 17 and I like it. Of course, that's not the quote by Alice Cooper. It was 18. I'm like it, but less than a year. I'll be 18. Um, so yeah, I'm 17. I still live at home. I'm in high school. I'm a junior in high school, and you know, so it doesn't hurt me as bad. But I feel bad for the people who have kids and the managers and things like that. But what can you do? There's not much. Um, So then in September, September 30th, I bought myself my own car, which was a very exciting experience. It's a 1997 Chevy Lumina, Chevrolet Lumina, with a 3.1 liter engine. It's a 3100, and it's a great car. It runs pretty well. It's got a lot of miles on it. I will say. It has almost 243,000 miles on it, so it's definitely been around. As far as I know, it's been an Iowa car its entire life. The person who owned it before me, I guess, was at twice a week, driving it from Cresco down to Des Moines and back, like twice, 1 to 2 times a week. And round trip, that's a good solid 650, 700 miles every week that they're putting on this car. And they were doing that for a few years, and it never really gave them a problem. Though when I did buy the car, it did give me a few problems, but they're all fixed. But so I'll talk about that. I bought the car for $950. Well, after the sales tax, it was like $985, but whatever. And then and then I got the license plates because this is all me. I mean, I'm paying for the insurance, the car, licensing, tabs, anything that needs to be fixed or replaced on the car. I mean, it's all up to me. So I bought the license plates, and I pay the insurance bill, which is like somewhere between $50-$60 a month, somewhere like that, which is pretty good considering I'm a new driver. I mean, I only got and that's another exciting thing. I got my driver's license back in June. I think I mentioned that in a previous video that I got that I made actually last summer, where I got my driver's license. Um, so yeah, uh, the first thing that had to be taken care of was my car didn't have an exhaust. It just basically had a hole and a small little pipe that was leading out. So the car was very loud. Okay, I thought it sounded pretty fucking cool. To be honest, it sounded like a goddamn race car. It was pretty badass. But so I was driving it around like that for a while, and I was debating whether or not to put a muffler on it or not, just leave it. Well, I was driving it. Well, I decided to get a muffler put on, an exhaust job done, and so I made an appointment with a body shop slash used car dealer here in town. And Cresco we have one new car dealer. We have one car dealer. It's H&S Motors in Cresco that sells brand new cars. We have like 4 used car dealerships. We're like the king of car dealerships out here. It's nuts. So I bought my car at one of the used car dealerships. The 4 of them are Harvey Stuff Is Us. It's a car shop slash antique store. Northeast Iowa Motors, Cresco Motor Company, and Buyers Auto Market, I think. Oh, and there's another one too called Jim's Autos, but it's not really a used car dealership. They do have a couple cars for sale, but they're actually a Napa, an independent Napa auto parts store. So there's that too. And then we have 2 auto parts stores. We have a CarQuest and we have a Napa in Cresco. So we're pretty well taken care of when it comes to those things. So I bought it at Cresco Motor Company, and then was in early. So I was driving it without an exhaust system on it really for about a month, and I think it was early November. Yeah, it was November 3rd. It's weird how I remember all these dates, but it was November 3rd I got the new exhaust put on, and but 2 days before, I was driving the car around without the exhaust, and actually, we live on a corner from an intersection of 2 streets, and I was parked on the street in front of my house, and I was actually at a friend's house who lives 3 doors down from me, and I was just gonna go around the block, so I didn't have to do a U-turn in the street to come around and pull into our driveway. Our house is really weird, so we face a street. We face a street going like this, and then the street to the right of the front of the house is a street that goes like this. And in the back of our house is the driveway, so you have to go around to the back of the house to go to the driveway. So we never use the front door, we always use the back door because that's where we park the cars. So that makes sense. So I was at a friend's house, and I was going to go around the block so I didn't have to do a U-turn in the middle of the street. And I just get around the corner, and I got pulled over. I got pulled over for loud exhaust. Well, I got pulled over for 2 things. One, for disturbing the peace after noise ordinance, which I really wasn't doing. It's not like I wasn't hammering on the gas or anything, but yes, I didn't have an exhaust on. Yes, it was pretty loud. So it was like 11:30, 11:45 at night. And then the second thing was apparently it's illegal not to have some type of exhaust system on your car. And I knew kind of driving it, I knew it was a stupid thing to do to be driving around without it because I had a friend who was pulled over. But really, I was never really driving it around after 8 p.m., which is when noise ordinance comes into effect in my town, except for that night. And it was just such a short distance that I didn't think it was going to matter, but it did. And the cop pulled me over, but I got pulled over by the nicest cop. He didn't give me a ticket. He just said, yeah, just make sure, to get that thing fixed. And he wasn't telling me either. He was just, just casually talking to me. And he's just like, yeah, just make sure you get that fixed. We're not going to have any problems here. And I'm not going to give you a ticket and I already had the appointment set up to get it fixed, I think in 2 days' time anyway. So I brought it in there, got that fixed. And, I thought it was going to be like a $160 job. No, I got slapped with a bill for like $245. So I had just enough money. Thank God I got paid the day before, and I had just enough money with like $20 to spare to get that paid for. So I got that taken care of. And if you guys aren't familiar with the geography where I live, it's extreme northern Iowa. I'm about 10 to 12 miles from the Minnesota border. So bottom line, in the winter, it gets fucking cold. Okay? Bottom line. Alright, so my radiator froze, and then the next day it got above freezing and it cracked. And I didn't know, and I was driving from Cresco to Decorah, which is a larger city, about twice the size of Cresco. It's about 20 miles away. It's kind of like the hub of it's one of the hub cities of northeastern Iowa. So I was going there to visit my grandparents, and all of a sudden the radiator needle just went, and it just shot up. I got maybe 3, 4 miles, maybe 4 or 5 miles out of town, and I had to turn around and come back to Cresco. I didn't think I was going to make it back uh, without my car overheating, but it didn't, thank God, and I made it back, and we took it into the shop the next day. Well, and the windshield wiper pump broke, so I got that fixed, and that was $380 right there. So I've put almost $650 worth of work into this car, but with the radiator, I paid for half, and my parents paid for half because they didn't want me to have to pay for all of that, in one big chunk. So yeah, so my car runs great now. Yeah, it's got high mileage, but it's pretty great right now. I'm kind of in the middle of trying to get a CB radio installed in my car, which hasn't been easy because uh, we were gonna run it. A friend of mine was gonna hook it up for me, and he was gonna hook it up directly to the battery. But the battery in my car is mounted so stupidly in such a stupid spot. It's really hard to get to unless you have a really small wrench, which he didn't have. So then we were going to hook it up to the fuse box, but then he didn't want to hook it up directly, and there was no real place to hook it up directly to the fuse. So we got a cigarette lighter adapter, and we put it in there, and then we're like, well, that's not working. Well, we found out the cigarette lighter fuse was blown. So we went out, we did this tonight actually, bought some fuses and crap, and we hooked that up and we plugged it in, and it kept blowing the fuse. We blew about 3 fuses of the 4 or 5 we just bought, and we realized because it was this 12-volt power adapter, my CB radio draws 13.8 volts of electricity, or, well, yeah, electricity, power. So it was too much, and it kept blowing the fuse. So we're gonna have to get a smaller wrench, and we're just gonna have to hook it up straight to the battery, because that's really all we can do, to be honest. Because that should definitely work, doing it that way. But yeah, so other than that, just kind of enjoying my winter break. I've had a lot of hours. Last week I worked 5 8-hour shifts. No, wait, 6. 6, 8, well, no, it was 5 last week, and then one like the Saturday before. They always get me to work Saturdays. That's the thing I hate. With being in school and things, you want Saturday off, right? Well, I usually work from noon till 8 in the evening on Saturdays. So, yeah, so that's not that big of a deal. So I'm gonna get a pretty nice paycheck off of that. Yeah, I make $7.25 an hour minimum wage, but getting a paycheck and then this week included for a good 55, 60 hours worth of work, that's gonna be a nice pay chunk right there. It's gonna be a nice paycheck. So yeah, so that's basically everything that's going on with me. Happy to spend the 5th anniversary on YouTube with you guys, and just keep watching and keep on subscribing. And more videos are going to be coming out soon. I do want to do a walk around tour of my new car. I've had this car since September, and I've never done a video on it, and I don't know why, but I've been busy a lot with school. Junior year is a busy year because we got a lot of tests coming up. I got ACTs, because in Iowa they don't do the SATs, so we do ACTs. So I got that coming up in the spring, and I'm starting a college class this next semester here going into the spring. So I got a lot coming up, but I'll try and make videos, not just WeatherStar emulator videos. I realized that I haven't made a lot of videos lately that it's actually showing my face. I think the last one I made was like in June or July, something like that. But so I'll try and make more videos like that when I can, and sometime this week I'm going to upload the video of my car and do a complete walk around. And I'll show you too how my battery is mounted. It's the stupidest thing. And if you want to check it out, before watching my video, just type in on Google 1997 Chevy Lumina 3.1 liter car, and then you could probably find pictures or a diagram of where the battery is. It's the stupidest place possible. And they got those stupid little bars that engine mounts, but they're not even really necessary. They're just there to be there. and they just go like that, you know, off of from the grill, like on a slant, you know. So you'll see it in the next video I have up. So yeah, this video is already 20 minutes long, and I don't really feel like rambling on much more about my life. So so please subscribe, you know, just keep on watching, and just stay tuned for more stuff, more random shit, basically. All right, see you guys.